What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Right behind me is our 2024 Audi RS3. For quite some time I've been thinking about putting out a video answering a lot of the common questions that I get in regards to the ownership of our 2024 Audi RS3. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing to our channel. It helps us out a ton. What I wanted to do in today's video is something a little unique. I wanted to talk a little bit about the ownership experience of my 8Y RS3. Give you a little background on myself, kind of like what led to the purchase of my 8Y RS3. The car as it sits today, so far it's gone 11,299 in a quarter mile at about approximately 122 miles per hour. And I want to talk a little bit about the modifications that we've done to get to those times. So why I chose the Audi RS3 over a BMW product, it's actually quite simple. It kind of takes me back though to my early days of owning a performance vehicle. One of my favorite cars I've ever owned was our Mitsubishi Evolution. We bought our first Evo back in '04, and then gosh, we've had Evos throughout our lives for many, many years. There was just something about the Evo that just felt it felt like you were in tune with the road, right? So just the way it handled, I guess I would say it kind of felt go-kartish, which was just a phenomenal feeling. It was back in around 2017 that I got the bug to go and test drive a VW Golf R. Once I test drove that car, that MQB platform to me it was the closest thing I felt to my early Evo days. The way that the MQB platform, especially in the Golf R, just handled, the way the launches felt, and you know what, even just like the simplest modifications would make the biggest difference in that vehicle. I just fell in love with that platform. After having that platform for about 3 years, I started to really fall in love with the 8V Audi RS3. The first thing that I fell in love with was actually the sound of that vehicle. It's just a very unique, distinctive sound, but the 8V RS3 just even took me back to kind of my Evo days, even more than my Golf R. You know, obviously you got the same MQB feel like you're in a golf cart, but yet you have now the sound and you also have the added power of a 5-cylinder. I bought an 8V Audi RS3, carbon ceramic brakes, the whole 9 yard. Man, that car was just amazing. Pandemic happens, price of the vehicle skyrocket. I had no choice, guys, but to make money off of the car, right? I had bought it about 2 years prior, got a good deal. I don't normally put a lot of miles on cars, and it's not because I don't like driving. I just do a lot of local driving. I travel mainly for work, so it's rare that I get to drive my vehicle. Fell in love with the car, sold it so I can make a profit during the pandemic. Actually ended up buying a Tesla Model 3 Performance. It wasn't for me, right? Especially being in the automotive world for so long and having owned turbocharged cars. Quite honestly, I missed the noise and the feel of driving a gas-powered vehicle. I wasn't quite a fan of the 8Y RS3 initially, but the more that I started seeing them on the road, the more that I became in love with the 8Y. So pulled the trigger, called my brother up, ordered this car. Took about a year or so for us to get it. Still think the 8V RS3, I don't know, to me it just felt more raw. I even think it sounds different. Maybe I'm crazy. You guys let me know in the comments below if you feel like the 8V just felt like a different beast altogether. Really love this car. I think it offers a great bang for the buck. Is it as cheap to modify and go as fast as a BMW, let's say M2 or anything like that? Probably not. Again, it just takes me back to my old sports compact days, the way this thing just handles and feels. I gotta tell you, I learned to appreciate the amenities of the 8Y over the 8V. Obviously, the tech's a little more advanced. The infotainment system is better. Actually, I think my 8V audio, however, sounded a lot better. The 8V B&O system was just way better in terms of the way it sounds, especially in the bass department. The next question that I get often is, how is it for a daily driver? These are great daily drivers. They're comfortable. The seats are fairly comfortable. The back seat is super tiny. If you have a family and your kids are a little bit on the older side, It can be a challenge, especially if your children are tall, to sit in the back seat. There's just not a lot of space between the back of the front driver's seat and the rear seats. So cost of maintenance really comes down to, do you know how to work on your own car or you don't? My son's girlfriend just had her VW service. She spent $650 on an oil change and rear brake pads. Yeah, I could have done it for her. She would have just came to me initially. She didn't want to ask me. I personally think that that's fair. That's about what a dealership would charge, even though I would rather do it myself because I'm sure in parts it's probably less than $150. It's kind of the same thing with the Audi, except obviously if you go to an Audi dealer, I would imagine there is a tax on the price my son's girlfriend paid for her VW Jetta, which I always joke around saying this is a Jetta also. But if you can do your own oil changes, if you can do your own brakes, cost of maintenance, I think it's just like any other car, right? Obviously, you do want to run synthetic fluids, etc. But again, if you do all the maintenance yourself, I don't drive a lot, so it's also hard for me to really sit here and gauge, but I don't think it's that bad. So far in the 6,000 miles that I've owned this thing, I've already changed the oil twice because I am super, super anal about oil changes. Me doing my own oil change typically ends up costing me somewhere in the neighborhood of about $150 or so with the filter and the required oil. We run liquid moly on all of our vehicles, so that's just what we run also on our 8Y Audi RS3. If you go to the dealership, because you have an RS product and you're going to the dealership, you are going to pay a shit ton. My advice would be, depending on how many miles you put on a vehicle each year, etc., do some research on the cost of maintenance, especially if you can't do your own maintenance. You have to do your DSG fluid after a certain mileage. Also your hull deck system, all that stuff, you know, does carry a higher maintenance cost than just your standard oil changes. But I want to say you do those at like 30,000 miles, maybe 20,000 miles. Let's talk about reliability. I got to tell you guys, 8V was solid. Had it for about 2 years, never had an issue with it whatsoever. Again, COVID happened, the market got really, really hot, the car became more and more desirable. I wanted to profit off of it, so it is what it is. One of the things that scared me about buying the 8Y was seeing some of the earlier posts, and still today, even on some of the newer models, it seems like they're hit or miss with people having issues with like leaky transmissions and things of that nature. She's solid, right? No issues whatsoever, at least for the 6,000 miles that I have driven it. Do your research. I think for the most part, you're gonna find that people that own the Audi RS3 find them to be very, very reliable. And yes, there's going to be horror stories, but there's horror stories on every single vehicle. Now let's talk about modifications. The first modification that we did to our Audi RS3 was on the exhaust side. We opted for an ECS Valved Exhaust. I got to tell you guys, I'm still fairly happy with the exhaust. Some of the other exhausts that are out there in the market today just sound freaking phenomenal. One of the ones that come to mind is that 485 Designs or 485 Fab, whatever it's called, exhaust. Look, when I got this exhaust, there weren't many options. The only option was, I want to say, like ECS. I think APR was getting ready to release theirs. And the other option was AWE, and that was it. So we kind of opted for the budget-friendly one. We're cruising somewhere in the neighborhood of like 1,900 RPMs at 44 miles an hour. Still in performance mode. I think the car sounds pretty good. You know, not too crazy, not too loud. And what we'll do is we'll try to open it up right now. So we are bone stock, meaning on the stock tune with that catback. Oh, and some 034 mid pipes, which was also part of our first initial modifications that we did.
Wow, guys, 11.0 flat, or I'm sorry, 12.0, 12.04. It's definitely a big improvement from the 12.1, so.
At Bradenton Motorsports and probably one of the hottest days down here in Southwest Florida. The next modification that we added to the car, we added a JB4. Now that we had the JB4, we had the ability of being able to monitor things such as intake air temp and things of that nature. And the car was just getting really, really hot. And the way that these computers or ECUs work on these vehicles is as the car gets warmer, the car is more susceptible to pre-ignition. So the ECU really does pull back on a lot of timing, thus slowing the vehicle down. We observed that the factory intercooler just was not playing nicely down here in the Florida heat. Our next order of business was to get that taken care of. So we went ahead and ordered a Unitronic front mount intercooler. Also at the same time, since we had the JB4, I decided, hey, you know what? I want to try that E30 blended mat. So went ahead, went to the gas station, put some E85 in it, made my own mix of E30, and went back to Bradenton Motorsports Park. First pass, we were able to get an 11:30, I want to say, our first pass at about 121 miles an hour. Talking 11,359 at 121.54. Our best pass that night was an 11:29 at 122 miles per hour, I want to say. So the car did really, really good. I thought, I think bang for the buck, if you really think about it. We did the catback. We did the mid pipes. I don't think the catback makes a difference other than just makes the car sound a little cooler. Even if we had the factory catback with just the mid pipes, we would have probably achieved the same quarter-mile times. But anyway, pretty impressive when you really think about it. Still on the factory flash, and this is just done with a piggyback. A common question that we get is, hey, why aren't you flashing the vehicle? So you guys know Unitronic, APR just recently put out flash tunes for these vehicles. I do think that I want to go that direction at some point here. But in the meantime, I got to be honest with you guys, I'm pretty happy with where the car sits. We did add a Unitronic 5-inch intake. Here, you guys got to listen to this thing. Not sure if it's psychological or what, but the butt dyno certainly says this thing is moving some air. Car feels great. And really, really looking forward to reporting if it makes any difference at the track. But anyway, here we go, guys. I feel like this is exactly what the car needed. We also went with their 4-inch inlet. So we are really, really looking forward to taking this thing back to the racetrack and getting some quarter-mile times now with the addition of the intake and the inlet. The reason why I haven't been to the track yet is because I also feel like this car needs some upgraded mounts. The last time I was at the track where I went at 11:29, you can just feel the engine slop, I guess I would call it. The factory mounts, I think, are just way too weak, especially when you're coming out of the hole in this thing when you're launching. You actually feel the car kind of just like wheel hop. You hear some like drivetrain clunks, and it's just not a good feel. I'm sure also that's impacting my overall, quarter-mile time. So for our next steps, we are going to upgrade the motor mounts. Then we're going to take it to the track and see what this intake inlet plus the motor mounts on top of those other modifications that we talked about, what it can do for the vehicle. I will be keeping this one here. Quite honestly, I hate the direction Audi's going. I wish I could sit here and say, oh my God, I'm looking forward to the next generation of the RS3, but even if there is a next generation, I don't know. As I look at the newer Audis, my wife has a B9.5 SQ5, and as much as we want to upgrade to the new one, we just don't like it. We're hearing a lot of horror stories, which, again, we can't judge that. We got to see over time as quirks get fixed and figured out and stuff, but I'm I'm not feeling the direction of lack of actual physical buttons. I feel like cars are slowly just becoming a touchscreen computer. That is one of the things that I also do appreciate about this car. While again, it's kind of watered down, I feel, compared to my 8V. My 8V even felt a little more, I guess, analog, if that's a thing. This one here, you know, it still has buttons and you can feel, you know, every press of a button and everything else. And for me, that's just, I'm a car guy. I just feel like that adds more character to a vehicle. We do want to get this thing ultimately on a Unitronic ECU flash. We do also plan on doing the whole Uniflex system and everything else. And then from there, I would like to upgrade the turbo, maybe do a hybrid turbo, bring up the power a little bit. And then we'll see where it goes from there. I could tell you right now that based on previous experiences and owning different cars, I can get a little crazy with these vehicles. So we'll see obviously what the future holds for this. But, you know, for now, we're just having fun. For me, this car still suits both sides of my soul, right? The inner child and the adult side. Do not regret buying this thing whatsoever. I do wish I went with an Audi exclusive color. I feel like Camorra Gray was kind of cool when it first came out. Now, like 1 out of every like 3 out there seem to all be Camorra Gray. So, but like I said, overall, very, very happy with the purchase. Please, you know, if you like this video, do me a favor, drop that in the comments below. I would love to do another follow-up video based on the questions that you guys have out there. So please, if you have any additional questions in regards to what it's like to own this vehicle, modification path, whatever it might be, drop it in the comments below. If we get at least 5 questions here in the next, you know, let's call it week, I will drop another video here in the next 7 days. Again, my goal is to stay consistent on this platform, so it would be pretty badass if I could get to a point where, you know, I am making videos for you guys and also we're doing it on a weekly cadence. So please, again, any video suggestions, any comments, any questions, drop them below. Love you all. Thank you so much for the love and support. See you guys on the next video.